Let's change the wiper blade rubbers on this car. There's nothing wrong with the actual wiper arms, so all we're going to do is change the rubber blades. First of all, we're going to remove the arm itself. When that is pushed in there, it will allow the arm to be moved downwards like that. Okay, and then the arm will come out like that. Okay, and then that'll come out. Do take note when you remove the wiper blades that you make sure you note which one is which. They're not always the same length. You can see that on this car one is maybe just an inch longer than the other, and as we noted, they do have different fittings. So let's just take a closer look at those different fittings. The principle is the same, so you'll just have to take a look on your car what the mechanism is like, but in all cases it's just some kind of clip to release the latch. On this one, which is the second one that we removed, you can see there's a little tab at the back which is pushed up like that, whereas on the first one that we removed, it's a little tab underneath which has to be pushed in like that. So they will differ in the detail, but just take a look on your car for some little plastic clip which pushes up. It might be in there, or it might be, like on this one, at the end. You'll find that at one end of the arm, you see there's a steel strip all the way down, two steel strips, one on each side, and at one end there is a little tab that comes out like that, and there's a tab on that side as well, so you can either push this pair together. I'm not going to do it with my fingers because it's too difficult. I'm going to have to get a pliers and push it out. You can either push that in on this side and push it that way to the right, or you can push that one in and push it to the left. Okay, so I'm going to take a pliers now, and I'm going to pull that whole strip out with these two side steel frames and the rubber itself. Okay, so this might take a little bit of doing, but we're going to take the pliers and we're going to push together the two tabs on this side and then push the whole assembly to the left and out. I'm doing a bit of this and then filming a bit and then doing a bit and filming a bit because I don't have enough hands to do the whole thing at once, but you can see now that I've started that moving to the left in this picture, so I'm now going to push it all the way out. In fact, that's not what I'm going to do, because of course if I push it continuously to the left, then those little metal prongs are going to get stuck on each one of those on the way down. So now I've pushed it out, I'm going to pull the whole thing to the left, because there's no other things to obstruct it on the way out. Now the piece here with the two steel side pieces and the rubber are out, and if we flip it over we can see that those two steel side pieces will separate, and they just sit on each side of the rubber. So this is what we're going to put onto the new rubber. You can see that these steel side pieces have little metal tabs which allow it to bite into the rubber, so make sure that they are pushed into the new rubber. So there's the original rubber that we're replacing, and here's the new strip. So I'm just going to cut this maybe an inch longer on each side, like that, and put these steel pieces into the new rubber, making sure that they are the same distance along so that the notches line up, and that will go into the top groove of the new blade, the new wiper rubber. So we're now going to push this all the way along and slide this back into the wiper arm. You might want to just pinch this together with where the recess is, just to make sure that the steel pieces bite into the rubber. I'm going to start pushing this back in by making sure that the metal frame, the claw of the metal frame, goes into the second groove on here, because the first groove is accommodating the steel side pieces. And then, working from that end, which is the end where the little notches were, I'm going to push it all the way into the frame, making sure that it sits correctly at each of the claw points on the steel frame. That is to say that at each claw point the metal frame goes in the second groove and the steel side pieces go through the top and sit in the top groove of the rubber. When you get to the end, you'll have to pull it a bit harder so that this metal tab goes back into this, so that the end claw fits into the recess. You can see that the rubber's pulled a bit that way, which is one reason why I put a bit of extra length on each end. And there you go, it's now all the way in. You can see that the end claw on this side is in the metal recess, and there's a bit of rubber on the end there, and the same on that side. So we're now just going to trim those ends so that they're not having a bit too much extra rubber at the end, and make sure that you trim it when the minimum amount of rubber is sticking out here. You can see if I pull that blade downwards, there's more rubber hanging out, so we don't want to trim it there because then it would be short when it was in that position. So we'll push the blade up to there, not to here but to there. Oh, after that thing, I'll have to put it back into there, and then when I've got that in properly, we'll trim it when the minimum amount of rubber is on that end. The amount of rubber on this end won't change because the claw is holding it. And there we have it, ready for refitting. Plenty of overlap at the end, whichever position the wiper blade's in. So let's go ahead and do the other one. Now the details of all of these frames will be slightly different, and the, the steel side pieces. In fact, this second one that I'm doing, you can see that it has more significant sharp point to bite into the rubber. So this one's actually a little bit better. It holds itself into the rubber a bit better. Okay, so now let's go ahead and refit the wiper blades. So we're just going to take this this hook here, and we're going to place that up and into there, like that, and just push it back up until it clicks. And that's one refitted, and the same thing on the other. So align the hook like that, push it through there, align it into this like that, and pull it up until it clicks, and there you go. These wiper arms on this car are a little bit different, so we'll have a go at doing these as well, because you can see that on here this one is also a bit the worse for the winter weather. So we'll see how this one releases. Looks like there's some kind of button here that you press, so we'll go ahead and try and do that. So on this style it looks like we just push this button in and then move the thing that way to the right. Okay, so that button has been pushed in. Now we can move that up like that, and it's out. Same with this side, which is a lot shorter on the left hand side. This is a Fiesta, so again we're going to push that button in there, and we're going to pull it out like that. Okay, taking the rubbers out of these blades is a little bit more difficult than the other ones. You see quite a lot of videos that tell you that you can somehow get these end caps off by pressing down in here, but that doesn't seem to be possible. I've tried for several hours to do that and it doesn't seem to be possible. So my way of doing it is to just get a small screwdriver under the edge of the end cap and try and pry it off like that, being careful not to break it. So you can see that this actually fits on by, there's a little ridge on there that catches under there. So putting it back on again is going to be quite easy, because you just push that on and then this little metal ridge there is going to catch under there. But as you can see, removing it is a little bit more difficult. We're going to do the same thing at the other end. I'm going to just get this screwdriver blade under here and pry it off like that. And then we make a note of which side they are, because these are different. You can see that the profile of them is not symmetrical. It's got the ridge on that side and that one's got the ridge on the other side. So once that's off, we can slide the old blade out, but you'll find that the blade is held in by a little metal catch there, so you might have to pry that up before you can get the old rubber out. So we can see here that I've pried that little hook up so that the blade should now pull out. The old blade will pull out. So now we're going to take the rubber refill strip and just cut it to the right length. So that's the original one, it's a bit shorter. And we're going to take scissors and just make sure we've got it the same length as this one. Let's give it a little bit of extra if necessary. And then we're going to take a new rubber blade and we're going to start at the opposite end to where that hook is. So that'll be this end here. And we're going to put the first ridge there. Can you see that? We're going to put that first ridge into here and push it all the way into the wiper arm, and then when it gets to that end we're going to push it right to the edge, but we're going to push with pliers. I'm going to push that down so that it's biting into the rubber to hold it in position like that, and then we're going to do the easy part, which is putting the end caps back on. Again, make sure the profile is correct. Look, there's the ridge is on the left hand side as you're looking at it, so that ridge is on that side. Make sure that you don't try and put that one on.
Can you just double check all the rubber is fit in properly then?
Yes, that's a good point, Miss Camera Lady. Yes, the rubber is all the way along. So now we're going to just check that the profile is the right way around on there. And remember, that ridge just sits on those little hooks. We're going to put that on there, push it in, and that will go into there, and it'll click into position. Same with this end. That little metal bridge there will clip under there. And you hear it clicking position, and we've replaced the rubber without having to pay for a new wiper blade. All that remains is to refit the wiper blade to the arm. Now if we look at the blade itself, there's a plastic ridge here, and that has to fit into this metal frame behind these two metal pieces that stick out. Like this. And then pull it back down. And same on the other side we've done earlier.